Welcome back to Armchair Safari, the daily live stream where you and I try to become better designers by finding a piece of great design on the internet, don't want to join in, just listen to me ramble on about what I can learn from this, which is usually quite kind of gone since I've had fever for like a week. It's over, but my mind is still gone. Something. Oh yeah, the thing we're going to be looking at. It's in the description below. Oh no, what happened? Oh, both windows are gone. There we go. Today we're going to be looking at Fabian Albert's really freaking awesome exploration of an expandable UI box. Actually, not quite sure what this is, but as usual, when it's a video, let's start from the beginning and just get a vibe. It's a version history of some sort of document, probably a design document, because it looks like it has a bunch of frames going on. So let's slow this down and see if we can see some of the animations. Ooh, get rid of this. There we go. And let's jump back a bit. And he hits view history and the thing grows. And then, oh, the really nice highlight effect on the green. Then I can expand down to see even further details into what happened in this version. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Now, if you've been watching the stream before, you know that I am a huge fan of GUI UIs and of digital first UIs. So things that are not in any sense skeuomorphic. They don't have any real connection to how something would work in real life. They're just hyper digital. This is a trend that I've been seeing for quite a while. I think it's been popping out around things that people have been exploring through framer motion. It's the idea where you have a window into something and the window is allowed to expand. So the content defines the size of the window, but the window can shrink and expand depending on what you need to see in the window. Now, this is a super weird idea from the point of like a traditional 2D layout sort of aspect. It wouldn't work on any other medium naturally. But in digital, it makes so much sense because what you get is you get this super tiny little thing which tells you just the overview. And if you want to dive into it, you can. It's right there. It's a portal into more information. So just from the offset, I love this basic concept. I love this basic idea. It doesn't mean it always works in all contexts. It just means that I love it. So what is good about this? Okay, so first of all, the both visual and state hierarchy, because the thing that I just rambled about is the hierarchy of the states that you can go between. But the visual hierarchy is really good. The state hierarchy is freaking excellent. Now it's easy when it's version handling, right? Because it's, see the versions, dive into a version. But that doesn't mean that you can't get it wrong. And I lost my mouse. Fabian here has really done a great freaking job. This looks awesome, and there's clearly a lot of thought going on behind it. The state of this is the state hierarchy of this is just absolutely excellent. The visual hierarchy, even in this like super expanded state, let's go back and pause it. So when you have the full state, the thing about this that is so incredibly hard, right, is when you design a single state of an app, you can set the visual hierarchy because you lay out the content in that way. But when you're stepping into additional states, each new state of that app reflects a new visual hierarchy. I mean, you can't move things around too much because then you're going to lose the user. But if you're expanding the states because you want to see something else. So what he's done here, which I think is absolutely brilliant, is that in the first state, you only see the current state. So we have the status, it's 64% done. The last thing was shipped in this history was the onboarding screens. When we open it up, we don't see onboarding screens again. Actually, no. I thought we were going to see onboarding screens moved or like not repeated because it's this current version instead, but then I can see that below that it actually says the edits, which is interesting. So maybe these are the edits from the current version to now. Anyway, what we're looking at is we still have that state on the screen. We don't see we don't see a repetitive iteration of that state. We don't see one of these prompts like we looked at yesterday that says, "Are you sure?" We don't reiterate the information in that way. Instead, what we're seeing is we're looking at the current state, we click the view history, and it says, yeah, this is the current version, the one that you're on. This is the thing that you wanted to see. Like, what is the version that I'm looking at? It's green. It's the latest version, the current version. It was done or created or whatever the timestamp means in this use case at 11:51 p.m. late night, but don't judge. And then when he goes even further into this, when he opens another substate, that substate is now darkened. So we're getting additional weight to something that is the smallest thing on the screen because this is the thing that the user wanted to dive into. So all through this tree of states, like it's only three, but still, all through this tree of states, Fabian is maintaining a visual hierarchy based on what the user interacted with. It's absolutely awesomely well done. And I'm quite impressed, as you can hear. I also really love the hover states. The hover states are so subtle and yet so incredibly clear, especially here on the green. Look at that. It's just like a shade darker. You can hardly see it when you're looking at a video or when you're looking at it statically, but when he hovers it, look at this. Ooh, what was that? See this like an expansion animation? Wow. Oh. So there's a hover state, which is dark gray. When it clicks it, the clickable things, the time and the header, the time and the title actually have click animation, which makes them bright. And then while it expands down. That's very, very interesting. I'm not sure if that's on purpose or not, but it actually looks really, really nice. Anyway, so what else is good about this? So we talked about the visual hierarchy, we talked about the state hierarchy. Actually, this progress bar is really, really interesting. The progress bar is blurry when the progress bar that isn't filled is blurry, which is a really nice indication of the fact that you don't know, like the progress that hasn't been done yet, so it's not actually defined. I love that. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but I really, really love that. Also really love the reuse of borders on all of these elements. You can see on the button, on the green thing, and the history borders here. Very, very nice. The borders on the avatars, also very, very nice. Also really like the typography, get rid of messages, thank you. Also really like the messages on X need to be removed. Come on. Okay, let's go with this. Really like the typography, the use of sans serif and mono serif, because here everything is in sans serif and there are different levels of opacity and different levels of font weight. There's even a link color here for the user, but then all the metadata is in this mono typeface, which is really, really nice for data, and it gives it a little bit more of this sort of tabular data vibe to it. So you read it as if it's data, if it's pure information. It's not something you're supposed to read, right? Really, really like that. What else? Looking at the animations, they're super freaking smooth. Look at this. Oh, that expand. And this collapse. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, look at that. That was even a little, look at this, a little bounce. It bounces. Boop, boop, boop. So this is called, it's a design principle back from Disney called the bounce and squish. Is it bounce and squish? No, it's stretch and squish. So whenever you want something to be very, very clearly animated, what you do is you overshoot the target a little bit. So if something is bouncing out, it bounces out too far and then it goes back. And if it squishes together, it squishes together too much and then back. And the reason for this is both for comical effect, so it adds a little bit of vibrancy to what you're doing, but it also really clarifies what is happening to the eye, especially back in the day when you didn't have that many frames, we had 25, 24 frames per second. You really needed that to like see what was happening, and it was kind of comic. But today, when we have something like 60 frames per second, it wouldn't be as necessary, but it still adds a nice level of detail to your experience. So you will experience the animation quite well without seeing it optically too much, because as you know, animations should be felt, not seen. So let's look at this in real time again, one more time. Now we can jump into the bad. Yeah, so the sub animations don't overstep, I think. They don't look like they bounce. It's just the main animation that bounces. Yeah. This is absolutely freaking beautiful. Okay, so what is bad about this? Okay, so there's always something to be improved upon. So some of the context, or no, some of the contrasts here are completely off. So the text to the green is really, the gray text to the green is quite hard to read. Could be compression, I don't know. This gray on the white also has a little bit, it's a tiny bit hard to read, especially the 64 for some reason. I wonder if that's a different gray than the time. Yep, totally is. It's either a different gray or the font is slightly smaller or slightly thinner. It's actually, yeah, it's the same font. I don't know, something's off. I think it's smaller, but it's not as contrasty as it should be. There's also is there a line here or is this my screen? No, there's a line here, but the compression is messing that up, so I can't really see that. Too bad. We need a dribble for video. Maybe dribble can handle a video now. I don't know. I wonder if that's compressed. I should check that out. Anyway, the green is glaring, which is kind of nice, especially if it's a brand color. But it does interfere with a bit with the gray, so that's not awesome. The second color, the blue link color, is just a little odd. Why is this not the same as the current version color? I mean, they do denote different things, but this is an interesting choice. These colors clash massively, but they're not in the same space, so that makes sense. But what happened if James was the person who was doing something to the current version? Would this entire box be green and the James blue would be in the green? Because that would look terrible. The avatars are too small to really use here. I would probably get rid of them. Maybe keep the ones in the top card, but not the ones in the history. Yes, you can sort of recognize them based on shape and color, but it's still there's just so tiny that I don't think it makes sense. Actually, now when I look at the mouse pointer, I see that it's like half the size of mine. So maybe this is also a bit compressed. Maybe it should actually be more like this in size. Hello, get rid of messages, please. There we go. Maybe it should be more like this, and then maybe the avatars would make sense. It's hard to tell since I'm looking at X, so I don't know. Maybe. What else? This progress bar that I absolutely love also doesn't really give you an indication of how long it is, so it becomes irrelevant, unfortunately. It could be a compression thing, because there is a gray border around the whole thing. It's just very hard to see because of the artifacting in this video. So maybe if this was a still shot, it would totally work out. I am not sure. There's also way too little information in this card to actually handle the history that you're trying to show. So in this case, since you already have an expandable card, if you really want history here, the card should probably expand a little bit width-wise as well. It should be broader to create space for just a little bit of history, maybe something like 60 characters. This is too little, so it's just not important. You could cut that and just say that James updated it, and you have to click it to see more information. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's the bad I have to say about this awesome exploration by Fabian Albert, FabiUIX on X. And the last and most important thing, like we always ask ourselves here on Armchair Safari, is does this make sense from the end user's perspective? And I mean, this is an exploration. It says right here, exploration. So it's not supposed to be in a perfect context for use. But even with that said, I think this looks awesome. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I love to see this expandable UIs. So I think this would make a lot of sense in something like Figma or in Notion or wherever you have a lot of versions. Yeah, totally passes every check that I can throw at it. This is a really nice design. Really like it. The only thing I wonder about is the green color, the blue link, and how do we see the history of this? But honestly, super impressed. Fabian Albert, again, doing just amazing, freaking stuff. Go follow him on X if you want to see some really cool design. He's at FabiUIX. Can't pronounce it, but there you go. Hopefully you can see it. There you go. There you can see it. And now I'm gonna go have a lie down because I feel like crap. All right, that's all we can learn today. See you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.